Welcome to CanadaNet TV. I'm your host, John Reid, CEO of Canada Alliance, and we're very pleased to this morning have Namir Anani, the President and CEO of the ICT Council, join us on a project we're actually joint venturing with them on digital adoption. How do you accelerate the adoption of digital technologies by Canadian enterprises? So Namir, you are the first person that we're interviewing, and we're very interested in your insights. Over to you.
Thank you, John. It's certainly my pleasure to be here today and to have the opportunity to discuss and exchange on a subject of interest to all of us, and that is how do we advance the adoption of digital technology? I think it's fair to say that technology is the essence of any high-performing economy such as ours, and specifically in a very global and competitive environment. If we look at some of the emerging technologies from the lens of the research that we've done recently on the app, mobile, and cloud computing, we see that these technologies are becoming very pervasive and will be impacting all sectors of our economy, whether it's the banking, the health, manufacturing, oil and gas, and others, and will be tremendously impacting the productivity and innovation factor. If we focus particularly on the mobile arena, for instance, while the adoption rate is reasonable in Canada, most organizations, such as small medium enterprises, haven't been able to evolve the use of these technologies beyond SMS and email. Leveraging the advanced capabilities such as e-commerce, banking, inventory control, and supply chain logistics will yield tremendously to the productivity of these organizations. We estimated in recent studies that a 3% productivity improvement as a result of leveraging the mobile to its full extent will yield approximately $24 billion to GDP per year to Canada, and that's a significant and sizable amount. But I believe there are two factors that impact why the adoption rate is not as good as we hope it's taking shape in Canada. And the first one is investment. Considering that 75% of Canada's industry is less than 10 employees, these small medium enterprises have the greatest difficulty to find the investment to start the adoption of technology. And while programs, and I applaud the government for initiating the digital technology pilot program, adoption pilot program, we certainly need more of those to incentivize the small medium enterprises to take this on board. But I shift my focus on the larger enterprises in Canada and their capability potentially to invest in their value chain, their suppliers, their partners, because enhancing their value chain and their ecosystem will pay dividends for them in the future in expanding on a national and international level. The second item that I'd like to address, and a very important aspect, is the talent. Certainly talent is an important catalyst for technology adoption, and here we have to look at the whole spectrum, from the formal education, starting from an early days in schooling, right to colleges and universities. And we should capitalize on all the resources that we have. Youth at the moment, they are certainly our digital natives. However, the unemployment rate is at 14%, double that of the national average. We should be leveraging that capability and bringing them and fast-tracking their entry into the industry. At the same time, I look at the industry and the role that they can play in upskilling the resources. And here, it's not only the ICT practitioners and the CIOs within the organization, but it is important as well for the business leaders in this 21st century economy to have good knowledge of technology and its capabilities, and not the technologies of today, but the emerging technologies of tomorrow, to be part of the discourse of innovation going forward in this arena.
So part of our interview series, and the last question, what is your call to action?
I'll be looking to the larger enterprises in Canada and the significant role that they can do in investing in the small medium enterprises to help them adopt technologies going forward. As I mentioned, that strengthening their ecosystem in Canada will pay dividend in the future for them on a competitive environment on a national and international level. But I also look at the small medium enterprises and I encourage them to embrace technology. It's an investment in the future of organizations. and also encourage them to look at the talent upskilling, because the talent is a catalyst for the innovation productivity going forward. And it's time for us to take the lead in Canada, and it's time for us to position ourselves as a first mover advantage in this global environment.
Thanks for joining us, Namir. Our first interview on the digital adoption campaign. We look forward to more of your insights.